Okay, I'm gonna make a bunch of people co-host just in case anybody loses connection here. All right, so as we're just about 5 past the hour, we're gonna get started. Chris, are we rolling on the live feed? Very good. Well, hello and welcome everybody to the final term, our final graduation, guest speaker and award ceremony for the 2020 year. And wow, what a year it has been. I'm gonna turn the mic. Thank you. I'm going to turn the mic over to Jenna Rhodes, our executive director, for some opening words, and then we're going to get right into the presentation.
So welcome everyone. I'm actually multitasking here, and it's actually really cool to be in this ceremony in virtual reality while I'm actually sitting in a web conference with our senior leaders at FTC. So very cool to be immersed. It was a fantastic day of the results and having our industry guests, EA, Technicolor, third floor, and also from our guest speakers today. So I'm going to let John introduce our guest speaker, or Mike, I'm not sure, but just wanted to say how very excited I am for all of these grads in the industry. And easy there. I saw a quote yesterday that said, people like to 2020 had a bad year, when in reality, it's been the best year of your life because of all of the things that you've overcome and all of the things that you've learned. You've done more, you've created new solutions, you've been able to solve more problems in 1 year than I think a lot of people experience in a lifetime. So having that framework mindset really, I think, helps in moving forward. So with that, I know we have some awards after the speaker, very excited about, and I'm going to turn it over and let's hear from him.
John, you're muted.
Okay, can you hear me now?
I can.
Yes. Okay, perfect, thank you. Over the past year and a half, as most of you know, the Dave School has made a huge move into the realms of immersive technologies and all the new technologies. With that, we've partnered with the people from Immersive VR Education, who bring us this amazing platform. Mike, could you mute your mic, please? And boldly moving into these new immersive technologies, and it's like the wild, wild west. There's all kinds of unexplored territory. There's all kinds of new uses. Being in communication with lots of different educational institutions around the world. Everybody, the focus of the world is on these new remote and immersive technologies. Surprisingly, though, very few have actually been able to implement and venture into these technologies. They're all still trying to formulate strategies. How do we implement? How do we use? It's a very complicated process, everything from creating these amazing 3D VR environments, to how do we distribute headsets, to how do we actually create content to engage, pardon the pun, how to engage people in this amazing new frontier. And as anybody who's stepped into this realm, all of you, I'm sure, have tried this, whether it's remotely via desktop or VR. It's an amazing, amazing world of opportunity for everybody. The reason I bring all of this is not just to give you an inspirational speech, but to introduce our guest speaker. Steve Grubbs, who's CEO and co-founder of Victory XR, is one of the leading, really forward-thinking companies who dove right in and started creating some of the most amazing VR and interactive immersive training and educational material and platform and experiences that I've seen. So without further ado, I'm going to let him introduce himself, but please give a big round of applause for Steve Grubbs.
Thank you, John. Appreciate it. Wow. Thank you. I feel very honored to speak in front of the Dave School. As many of you may know, we have hired 2 Dave School graduates to help build the world that we are building. And I'm not going to talk too long today because we are in VR and there are a lot of better things you can do than listen to someone speak. But I want to talk about where you are today and in the world that you are meeting. And before I get started, I want to introduce Aaron Higgins. Aaron right here is a Dave School graduate. I can't tell you exactly what year, but I'm guessing like 2016, 17, something like that. And Aaron is going to take you on a tour later of the campus that he and Danny, Danny, I also want to introduce Danny. Danny is our lead technologist. So he puts together and puts in place and makes what Aaron creates. Aaron is essentially the interior designer. So if you think about building a house or a new building, you need somebody to design it. What are the colors going to be? How is the space going to flow? What do we want to bring to this space? And that's what Aaron does with input from our education people and from Danny. And then Aaron hands that building over, that room or that object over to Danny, and Danny makes it all come together. And so, you know, many or some of you have been on the Victory XR campus before, and you'll have a chance to hopefully see it yet this afternoon. But before we get there, I should also pause because a little bit about myself, not too much, just a touch. I am an entrepreneur, and I am a primarily a tech entrepreneur. But about 20 years ago, I took my son's flag football team down to practice at the elementary school I attended. And I loved my elementary school. It's a real building with atom-based bricks and actual ceilings and real windows that you can touch. And I noticed that it was up for auction. So I bid some money and I bought my elementary school. And today, Aaron and Danny sit in the first grade classroom and they build from my elementary school building. They build the campus, the school of the future. Now, me, most people think I probably sit in the principal's office, but in actuality, I sit in the teacher's lounge when I'm there, which isn't very often. I sit in the teacher's lounge because it has a private bathroom, my own little private room there. So that's the one that I chose. And thus far, I can tell you neither Aaron nor Danny has had to make a trip to the principal's office. So far, all good work. So let's talk about why this class of the Dave School may well be the most fortunate, potentially luckiest class of graduates in the history of the Dave School. We are at an amazing, amazing inflection point for the world. We are at the precipice of the world moving from an atom-based, geographically bound existence to a world where we will begin moving to a digital world, a Ready Player One world. And you know what? Most people, 99.9% of the people, have no idea that this is coming. But you know who does have an idea? I do. Aaron does. Danny does. John does. Mike does. and you do. And because we know the future, because we can see the future, that means that we get to create the future. What an amazing, amazing gift. You can go home and talk to your parents about, yes. You can go home and talk to your parents about this, and they're going to nod their head and they're going to say, oh, I'm so glad you like what you're doing, but they probably are not going to get it. Many of you will even be able to talk to your employers about this, and they still won't get it. Because one of the things that we have learned at Victory XR is the reality is seeing and experiencing is believing. Let me give you the best analogy I can think of, and this is one that probably John and Michael will understand, but you might not. So Amazon was founded around 1995, and 95, 96, 97, it grew into something of significance. But back then, when I was just starting my first tech company, people had no idea that this would actually be a thing. I mean, you would sit in front of your computer, put your credit card in there, trust that nobody's going to steal your credit card, and then you would wait 5 days to have something delivered to your home. I don't get it. Why don't you just drive to Walmart, buy it, and come home with it? It makes a lot more sense. This online shopping thing, it's never really going to be anything big. It'll just be for hobbyists. And think about Walmart. They're making a lot of money. For 10 years, Walmart completely ignored Amazon. They had all the money in the world. They had created the wealthiest family in the world, and yet they ignored them. A lot of the big incumbent players are going to do the same thing with what we see out here with digital real estate, digital schools. They won't even see it happening, even though it's happening right in front of their eyes. If they had the ability to take the blinders off and to see what was right in front of them, then they would say, oh yeah, okay, I can see where this might go. You know what? They won't do it. There will be a few that will dabble, and there will be a handful of startups that in 10 years will own the world. They will own their space. Maybe it will be in retail shopping. Let me give you an example. One of the companies that we've worked with is John Deere. Now, John Deere makes really big tractors. Now, when you think of a tractor, you might think of something out of a movie that aren't that big, but tractors are really big, and they might cost $500,000. Well, how do you sell that? Well, right now, they're going to sell it through a video, or you might travel 5 hours away to actually see one in action. But what you are going to do, you are going to create digital twins of those tractors and those cars and those boats. And you're going to allow people to step into a showroom, to walk all around it, to step up inside it, maybe even drive it. That's what you're going to do. How about senior living? Maybe some of you have a grandparent who needs special housing because they've gotten to a point where they can't care for themselves. And the grandmother is in Missouri and the daughter is in California. And she wants to find housing for her mother in St. Louis. Well, how does that work? You are going to build the senior living residence, and that daughter is going to tour that with her mother all in the same space without having to get on a plane and fly to St. Louis. You are the class of the Dave School. It's going to make a difference. It's going to build the solutions. And don't take that first job and think that your employer understands what needs to be done. As an employer, the most valuable team members we have are those who say, you know what, I think we should try doing this or this. Because even though, my children are about your age, so most people my age are not very tech savvy. I am pretty tech savvy, but you know what? There is a lot that I don't know. A lot that I ask Aaron and Danny and Pratik and the rest of our team. So you have to be that ideation machine. That ideation machine, that needs to be you, because those entrepreneurial solutions that will solve the world's great problems, your employers are not going to know how to get from point A to point B to figure that out, because they won't at a base level understand the technology and the graphics and all that goes into the solutions that we understand are possible. And so let me leave you with just a couple of concluding thoughts. Coming into 2020, and leaving 2020, most people talk about what a terrible year it was. This bad thing happened, that bad thing, and oh, one more thing. Now, being an entrepreneur, I'm naturally an optimist. And I actually believe that in most ways, in the greater good, there have been clearly some bad things that have occurred. People have died. A lot of people gone through a lot of pain. But in the greater good, 2020 will be the year that opened up the world of digital real estate, digital solutions to the great mass of people who thought it was something that was years away. And so that's number one. There's a lot of great things that are going to come back out of 2020. When we look back in time in 10 years, people will say 2020 was the inflection point. This was the moment the future began. Second, I want you to think about the type of companies that you're going to work for. There's no right answer here. Some of you may look to go out and work for a large multinational corporation, to take your talents and skills and work for somebody that you are one among thousands. And they will pay you well, you will have great benefits, you might even have job security. And that might be the perfect fit for you. Others might say, I want to use more of my skills. And you might go to a small boutique shop. A boutique shop that has great clients, fun clients, and get to use the vast array of your skills and your creativity and be a part of decision-making and leadership and really do some amazing things at smaller boutique shops. But then there might be a couple of crazy ones, outside the box types sitting in the audience who say, I want to go to work for a startup. As Danny and Aaron can tell you, at our startup, it's the Wild West. You're constantly trying to figure out where you can take your slice of the world that'll help you make payroll. How do you bring in investors to make sure that you can continue to pay your team, and build your world? How do you put it all together? It's always a wild ride. And in a startup, there's really not that much job security. what you might get from a startup is you might just change the world. You might be the first engineer at Tesla, or you might be the scientist who figured out the mRNA that led to these vaccines that we're taking across the world today. Or you might be that engineer that came in with two Steves of Apple. Yeah, Steve Wozniak and Steve Jobs, and helped build the Apple II. That might be you. You got lots of options, but your skills are in high demand. My encouragement is that you use those skills to make the world a better place. Because life goes by pretty fast. When you're 20 something, it doesn't seem like it, but when you're my age, you go, damn, that was fast. And when you look back, you want to look back and say, okay, the world's a better place. I made a difference. And you have the tools and skills and the opportunity now to be one of those people. So thank you for having me. John, thank you. Michael.
Thank you so much, Steve. We're going to, who are we turning the stage over to? Is Aaron presenting next?
Aaron is going to, once you're done with the awards, Aaron and Danny are taking you on a tour of what they have built, but I think you have your awards first.
Okay, let's see. How are we doing on time? I think we still have some time. We could really probably do the tour first.
Okay. Well, we would love to do that.
That'd be great.
Aaron and Danny.
So I'm going to turn the stage over to Aaron Higgins, who was a Dave School grad, and Danny. What's Danny's last name?
Coyle.
Danny Coyle. Yes. Come on up, everybody. Please give a big round of applause.
Hey, everybody. We didn't really have a speech prepared, but you want to go ahead and take us off there, Aaron? And,
yeah. So I was a Dave graduate of 2017 August. And yeah, my adventure working here has been amazing. And I'm very thankful for all the opportunities that I've had, being able to develop the future of education. Yeah, I didn't really have a prepared speech. So Danny, would you like to say anything else?
Let's just start the tour.
Yeah, I mean, more or less, as Steve said, seeing is believing. So I see that many of our users here are PC users, but we do have a few VR users out here as well. That's fantastic. So I think we should start on the campus quad first. What do you think, Aaron?
Yeah, absolutely.
I think that sounds great. So it's going to fade to black, and when we appear back, we'll all be on the campus quad. So hang on, everybody. And away we go. Everybody. So this is typically where we like to start our campus tours. This is our Victory XR Academy campus quad. All of the environments that you're going to see here today were created by Aaron in-house by our staff. Here you go. We have some activities here like cornhole and some balls to throw around, some footballs to throw around. One of the aspects that you're going to see with the environments that Aaron has created through his 3D modeling prowess is that the environments, if you're on an Oculus Quest or if you're on a PC, the environments are going to look just as nice on a standalone VR headset as it will on the most high-end headsets and PCs that you'll find, because we want to make sure that everyone is getting the same visual fidelity while still running as smooth as butter. Aaron, do you have any? Oh, did I get it? No, I missed it. So, Aaron, do you have any notes about this environment in particular, or anything that you'd want to point out?
Yeah, so I don't know if the curriculum's exactly the same as when I was attending the Dave, but our week 4, block 4 gaming program definitely prepared me exactly for this setting, making modular assets and making modular building pieces to create a full-fledged environment.
Absolutely.
And Aaron,
So,
how do you create the graphics so that it looks like it's textured, but it really doesn't use a lot of resources?
Yeah, so for keeping it light for the mobile headsets like the Oculus Quest and that, the majority of these materials are mobile shaders, so they're not PBR. There are some PBR-based shaders in this environment, but that's kept to pretty minimum. And then also, all the lighting is baked-in lighting, so there's GI caches everywhere, providing localized lighting and baked-in shadows.
mm-hmm.
And the thing that I appreciate about Aaron's work is that he pays attention to the small details. So like the mowing stripes on the lawn, 90% of designers would have ignored the mowing stripes on the lawn. They would just lay green everywhere. But Aaron took the time to give it some visual clarity and their texture, and I appreciate the small things like that that make a difference for people.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Really great. I love the scale of the place.
Yes.
Yeah. And of course, the modular nature of each of these buildings, like each one of these sections here, is just a modular chunk. Of course, with the corner pieces and then the clock tower, the scale of this environment we could have made as large or as small as we wanted, using the modular nature of each one of these chunks. So, and that's all Aaron there, just seeing that possibility for building things out or scaling things back as necessary.
Aaron, where do you want to take us next?
We have a whole slew of different environments. But would the industrial tech environment be one that we'd want to show off?
That seems like that makes
I think
sense.
that one's full of fun things to look at.
It is. We could and we can pull up some of the assets you've created there too.
Yep.
Awesome. Let's do it. Hang on, everybody. Great. Go ahead and file on in, everybody. I know that there are a number of great little technical details here in this room. So, Aaron, you go ahead and take it away.
Yeah. So this environment was created to simulate a like industrial tech setting, to be able to work on automotive things. Like if you want to examine a truck, like a big diesel truck, have roll through the doors, examine diesel mechanics, have a traditional like drafting slash just standard desk setup over here for any kind of breakout classroom setting type things, and then over in this corner over here is kind of more of like a production line type breakout of if you want to simulate like production on automotive parts, have different segment breakups depending on what kind of production you'd like to have.
Mm-hmm. One thing that I want to detail about this room is are the shelves of boxes and crates and barrels over here. All of these were created with LOD, level of detail. So as you travel further away, of course, they'll be replaced by the lower end meshes. There's a lot of that going on in this room just to make sure that resources aren't being pushed too far for those lower end headsets, but it still looks fantastic. I see people who've discovered the whiteboards.
You know
One of the
what?
things I'll point out to everybody that you guys do so well, which is real world implementation and usefulness. There's a lot of people who put on experiences that you just kind of stand there and look around and you go, wow. But I hope you guys will touch on a couple of these later, because you've got some amazing experience in practical application for training, for classrooms, for science that are practical, hands-on, where you're actually standing there, you're actually doing these things, which is really amazing, and simulating these environments that you would get in a real world training situation.
Mm-hmm. And we've only just
So-
gotten started in that regard.
Two things real quick before we go to the next one, Danny. Number one, by the way, Victor XR will be hiring hopefully a Dave School graduate in the next 3 to 4 weeks. So if you are interested, reach out to Aaron and send him your resume and your portfolio. Number two, we are starting a new project, John, for the trade industries, to teach kids that they don't have to go to college. They can also become an HVAC expert or a carpenter or those sorts of things. If you see the HVAC work on the roof, on the ceiling, everybody, we're going to make that 6 foot tall, and students are going to walk through it and be able to walk through. And when they're in the middle of it, they're going to find a 360 virtual reality field trip to an HVAC factory. And that will be launching February 22nd. But we'll probably use this exact HVAC, miniaturize the students so they're as tall as Ant-Man, and they'll run around the HVAC looking for things to learn.
How cool.
Yeah. Danny, you want to go to the science room and show them the human heart that Aaron and you created?
Oh, yes. All right, here we go, everybody. All right, if everyone could just kind of spread around this middle area here, kind of around this center table, I'm going to go ahead and distribute out some of the 3D objects that Aaron has created for some of our human and animal anatomy courses. So when I bring these up, I'm going to go ahead and make them shared for everybody. And even if you're on PC, if you're on VR headsets, I'll go ahead and make a couple of these. Go ahead and clone that one, clone that one.
Hey,
Go ahead
Danny,
and-
while you're cloning those, Aaron, can you talk a little bit about how you create outside the window environments so that you don't have a claustrophobic feel inside our rooms?
Yeah, so I mean, this one's pretty simplistic of just a skybox. But there's, I mean, for different experiences like our dissections, we've built slight outside environments to simulate more of it's not just a classroom you're kind of stuck in there, but it's more of a open breath type concept.
Actually, you know what? I think we're going to save the pig. Yeah, we're going to save the pig. In that case, let's do.
Danny, if you're on a computer, how do you grab the objects?
You just point at it and you click on it.
How do you point at it if you're on a computer with your mouse?
Yeah. You just look around with your mouse, point at the object, and you can click on it and you can move it around that way.
And can you expand it?
Yes. If I believe if you hold right, if you're on PC, you select the object so that you're moving it around, and then if you hold right click and then use your scroll wheel, that will make the object bigger and smaller. I don't use PC that often, but I believe that's the case. Oh, there we go.
Somebody's figured out how to scale.
There we go. And here's our award-winning frog.
And you can actually go inside the heart.
Mm-hmm.
That's amazing.
Now we were talking about how the rooms don't use PBR materials, but for objects like this, we definitely use PBR or physically based rendering just to make sure we get all of that detail in there, make them look nice and moist. And of course, all the rooms come equipped with proper reflection probes, so they look like they belong.
And this is just the external of the frog, Danny, correct? Our
Uh-huh.
organs are not inside this one.
That's correct. I think once we do the planetarium, I think we're going to do Cosmic Pig.
Got it. Okay. I'm going to let you take people to the planetarium. I have to get in my car and drive. And so I'm going to say thank you for allowing me to address the group and leave you in the capable hands of Danny and Aaron, who really are the masters of what you see. And what we're building out is the world's greatest campus. So
Thanks, Steve.
thanks all.
Thank you so much,
Thank you
Steve.
so much
Thank
for
you,
coming
Steve.
out.
Yeah, I appreciate the opportunity.
All right.
Mhm. Okay. Oh. Love that ghost applause. Yeah, what's up, Aaron?
Oh, what was that?
Oh, I saw you were. It looked like you were about to mention something.
Oh no, I was trying to set up the camera to take a picture, get a
Oh,
nice
great.
selfie in.
Yeah.
But
And of
everyone
course,
wants
if you guys want to take pictures using your menu, feel free to do that and share all that you've seen here today. Now, of course, seeing is believing. So those who see your pictures aren't going to really get it, but yeah, they might be tempted to come in for a visit so they can get a real idea. So next, we're going to head off to our planetarium. That's got some real fun features, and then you guys are going to experience something real special. So hold on, everybody. We are off. All right, we'll let everybody file in. If you could just kind of join us here in the main chamber. Now, this is our planetarium environment. This one here features some architecture that really allowed Aaron to flex his creativity, not necessarily have to follow a particular template of something that exists in the real world, but just something where you could have emissive materials such as the blue materials down here, so that can during the baked lighting process that can just give off ambient light. Same thing with the backlight here on these X's. Anything else to detail, Aaron, that you want to brag about?
Well, yeah. I mean, just one more comment is so this was kind of, I think this was our second environment, and so it was one of our earlier ones, and we were kind of unsure of where we could push engage as far as the platform and kind of max out on what stats we wanted to max out on, and so while this is like still very simplistic in nature, it does offer like nice silhouettes and that.
Mm-hmm. Now, something of my own design is this little ball here. Go ahead and grab this ball here, Jason. And you can see that he is grabbing and moving the sky. Oh, we'll go ahead and close that. We're not ready to go yet. Not used to having multiple hosts. And of course, I can turn this button here. I can turn the constellations on and off. So, as an astronomy teacher, this is a really great tool for me to be able to just manipulate the night sky and then turn these buttons on and off. Now you'll see that this arrow in the center of the bubble will always point towards Polaris, the North Star. So it's really easy to stay oriented as well.
That is very cool.
So what we're going to be doing next is we're going to be hopping into our teleportation pod here, and we're going to head off to our next environment. So the door's going to open. I want everybody to file inside, okay? Don't want to get left behind. Go on in, everybody.
Transporter. Oh, that's so cool.
There we go. Now people are filing in. So welcome to the Starship Observatory. This environment really allowed Aaron to just go full sci-fi and just go completely off the wall while still creating a relaxed environment for teachers to teach in. In terms of functionality, I got a screen toggle where I can turn on and off this media screen here. And in just a moment, I'm going to demonstrate a really cool feature of this room that I put together on top of Aaron's fantastic geometry. So I'm going to go ahead and hit the airlock here. And we're all going to head out here into space. So this is the fetal pig dissection specimen that Aaron had a part in creating for our Carolina biological curriculum. So what I'd like everybody to do, if you could, is use your teleport feature and teleport up to this top platform up here. I'm actually gonna summon everybody. Just do that for the sake of ease. Oh, it doesn't look like I can summon to this platform. All right. So once you get up here, go ahead and point your cursor at this big green button, and then there's going to be another green button. So there's open up the pig and then spread the organs out. And once you do that, you'll see an animation occur where the pig's organs will spread out into their various systems. So once you've done that, you'll see all of the different systems of the pig spread out into their various systems. So you'll see the gigantic lungs over here, the esophagus, the trachea, and then of course the different hemispheres of the brain over here. Has everyone got that? Or most of you guys got that? Not hearing any yeses or nos.
Yeah, very cool.
Okay, you guys got it. Great.
I can't seem to interact, but that's probably on my end. So.
Well, so for those of you who have gotten the pig open and the organs spread out, you'll see that all of these different organs, of course, have PBR materials on them, so you get all that detail, that using those high end shaders, and they even still look good on the mobile platforms
Oh
because
wow,
the
I
mesh
see it now.
because the
Sorry.
meshes themselves are just so optimized. They're so good. They're so good. Love it.
Yep.
Never get tired of seeing
And
these.
that was produced by two Dave graduates. One of them was me, and the other was Cody Burks, 2016 December graduate.
Yep, Cody was one of my students. This is very cool.
know.
So does everybody have a different experience? Like if they don't push the button, does somebody have a different experience than somebody else who did or did not push the button, or is it
That's
happen
right.
for everybody?
So it's a limitation of the Engage platform that we turned into a strength. So so this entire object is a single IFX object that contains all of the different organs inside of it. And IFX objects and the different buttons inside them currently are not able to be synced up over the network. That's why each individual user needs to press it. However, we turn that limitation into a strength by allowing students to be able to open and close the peg at their leisure. So even if multiple students are looking at the same object, if a student opens and closes the peg just to see how the organs are situated inside, they won't interrupt other students who are looking at it with the organs spread out. So that's the way we like to think about the cosmic pig, which is this snapshot that we loaded up. We call it the cosmic pig. And of course, the same can be done with some of our other specimens. Let me pull up one that's a bit different. There we go. So I'm going to go ahead and pull up our giant sea star over here and make it nice and big. Place it right there. So if you guys want to come over here and just slap this red X here with your cursor, you'll see the organs spread out vertically. You might have to get a little closer to the button in order to press it. And then you'll see the organs spread out vertically. And I can if I wanted to, I could make more floating platforms, and we can travel up the sea star and look at its organ system spread out vertically instead of horizontally as here with the pig. So this is Aaron and my workflow. He presents the fantastic assets, and I present them in VR in crazy ways. All right, so I think we're going to get a bit more grounded. I think we're going to head off to our art museum and look at all those awesome paintings. Sound good?
Yep, sounds good.
Sounds good.
Sweet.
These are awesome.
So I'm going to go ahead and take us back to. See, it's real easy to go back and forth. And here's all of the stuff that we left out outside the window. So of course, it's really easy for teachers to create giant dioramas for the class to look at, and then teachers can take their students out on a spacewalk to walk among the diorama that the teacher created, or the student. Really, if the student the student had an assignment to create a big space diorama for an assignment, that's another way that they could present that. So it's not just restricted to teachers, obviously. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and pull up the snapshot here. Here we go. All right, come on in, everybody. Here into the main chamber here. So, welcome to our art museum. This environment is deceptively simple. We've curated the museum with a bunch of different art assets. All of these frames were created by Aaron, and now while in most cases these paintings just look like images that were just kind of taken off of Google Images and plopped onto the frame. What I really want to show off here is, if you guys want to join me over here in the Van Gogh area here, I have a dynamic light source here in my hand, and as I hold it up to the canvas, you can see that Aaron baked in the detail into the material. Aaron, you want to?
Wow, that's great.
Yeah. So I
Detail
took
this?
a PBR pass in substance over the majority of these paintings and kind of gave them a very real simulated feel of the actual paint and their paint qualities.
Yeah, so if any of you guys want to point your cursors at these grabbable light objects and just kind of move them close to the canvas, there you go. You can get an idea of that. And you can just take these lights. I'll just make a couple more of them. I'll kind of turn them down a little bit. You guys can just take some of these lights and go look at some of the canvases. While you guys are doing that, how are we doing on time?
Let's see.
Couple minutes
We
left.
got a couple more minutes.
All right.
Wow, I didn't see this big one up here. It's fantastic.
Oh yeah, and of course, we're not restricted to the laws of practicality here in VR. We can have assets even up here if we want to. Great. So I don't want to take too much time. Of course, we could be here for hours showing off all the different rooms that Aaron's got to show. Yeah. Oh yeah. Looks like this that area up there is teleportable. Good job finding that bug, guys. I'll take care of that. So if we gotta wrap up, we'll wrap up and head back to wherever we're gonna have the award ceremony. Does that sound good to you guys?
It sounds good. Danny and Aaron, thank you so much. This is so cool and just gives you sort of a taste of what is possible. And I mean, what other guest speaker event have you ever been to where you've been to space, you've teleported in Star Trek fashion, you've been to an observatory, you've been to a planetarium, an art museum, all in the span of what, 20, 30 minutes? Yeah. Great work, guys. Super excited to see more of what you have to come. Very, very exciting stuff. With that said, I'm going to teleport us back to the Dave School Theater for the award ceremony. Sit tight. All right, we'll give everybody just a second to teleport in. Steve, Danny, Aaron, thank you guys so much. That was truly fantastic, and what a great demonstration, a physical demonstration. This isn't, many times you have guest speakers and they talk about the future and they talk about possibilities and things that might exist today. You actually just lived it. You went through it. This is stuff in the here and the now, and the ability to do these things is in your hands right now. And as Dave School grads just finishing your term here, you've been in a very difficult but yet unique position in that the pandemic situation that's happened worldwide has both forced the hand of these technologies, made these technologies even more demand, and also forced the time clock that maybe these might not have been, in our hands or as widely acceptable had the pandemic not have happened. People now see and understand the value that this has, and it's really forced the clock of technology way ahead to where these are in the here and the now, and the future, as Steve very eloquently said, is literally in your hands. You have the skills graduating from the day school to be able to create what you see here and a whole lot more. With that said, I'm going to let Jenna do a quick introduction to the award ceremony, and we'll get started.